Welcome back. So in this lecture, we are going to do two things. Number one, we're going to have a quick recap of what we have learned. And number two, we're going to learn how to actually use the audiences that we have now created. Good to know, right? Let's dive in. So here we are back in the audiences section. Now, this recording is done approximately 14 hours since I recorded the last video, the last lecture that you checked out. So as you can see, a lot of these have started to populate, right? So for example, we can see the lookalike here is at 2.3 million. The lookalike for Instagram is at 2.3 as well. And that makes a lot of sense because remember, we are matching with the 1% of the US audience, and that 1% is going to be the same, right? So the 1% that matches, in this case, the Robin and Jesper page, and the 1% that matches the Instagram custom audience in this case. And just as a side note here, this is important to know that when you create this lookalike audience, the original people who are in this audience, for example, the people from the Robin and Jesper page, they will not be included in the lookalike audience, right? So the lookalike audience is completely brand new people. So you do not have to exclude any people if you're using these as an audience. And as we can see, a lot of these are still populating because, like we said, these are ongoing, right? As long as things are happening here, they will continue to populate between every third and every seventh day. So we got some result, but that also means that now they are more handy to be used. So what we're going to do is that we're going to look at how to actually use these now, right? So we have created them. We know how to use them. We just click on create. We can create custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and we know how that works already. And we also know the special ad audiences, they are not for us. They are for special niches such as credit and insurance, etc. Chances are we're not in that niche, so we will not be using it. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to go to Business Tool and we're going to go to Ads Manager, and I'm going to show you how to actually use these. It's very simple. So as an example here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Create, right? And at this point, we're already starting to become familiar with the Facebook ad system. Pretty cool, huh? Learning by doing. So at this point, I'm just going to use a campaign that we have. I'm going to do this, use existing. I'm going to use traffic. And now I'm only going to create a new ad set because remember, it's in the ad set where we actually create and use our audience. Okay, so I'm going to name that test for now. And I'm not going to be doing any ad design. I just want to show you how to use the audiences here. So I'm going to click on Save to Draft, and I'm going to be launched directly into the ad set. Okay, so this we're probably quite familiar with already as well. Now, scrolling down, remember at the audience section, here's where we decide to use the audiences that we have created. You're going to notice that there's nothing under saved audience, and that is because saved audiences are for core audiences. All right, so what we need to do is go down here where it says custom audiences, and if we click there, well, lo and behold, this is where we see all of the audiences that we have created. So we can decide to go through lookalike audiences, they're going to be here. We can go to custom audiences, or we can just use all of our audiences, right? And if you want to use any of them, let's say, for example, we want to do the Instagram lookalike custom audience, then I just go ahead and I use those, right? Now, this is where things get interesting because we can still do detailed targeting on this specific audience, right? So in here, for example, right now I've targeted Sweden. There's a pretty bad idea. So I'm just going to remove Sweden and not use a location because we already know that these are based in a US location. So what I can do at this point is that I can go down to my detailed targeting and I can start digging out the people that I want to be more precise with targeting. So as you can see, we have now taken our detailed targeting and our targeting towards targeted audiences to the next level. There's a lot of the word targeting there. But now, since we have a very specific audience, a lookalike audience based on our Instagram custom audience, they are very targeted, right? And when we use them, because this is already too much, 2.4 million, we can go ahead and we can set the age, we can set the gender, and we can set the detailed targeting and be even more specific. And that is the power between using custom audiences and lookalike audiences, right? Absolutely fantastic. So another thing we can do here, not only can we use this audience, but we can also click on exclude and then exclude any of the audiences. They work the exact same. And remember, like we spoke about earlier too, it's sometimes a good idea to exclude an audience depending on what your goal is. So if it's brand awareness, then of course you do not want to be targeting people who already are aware of your brand. So who are aware of your brand? Well, all of the people in here, right? Everyone who's been engaged with your Facebook is going to be aware of your brand. So everyone who's been engaged with your lead form is going to be aware, and who's been watching your 3-second video, who are on your email list on MailPoet, everyone who's on your MailChimp list, all the website visitors. So we would just exclude all of those people until we make sure that when we actually target the people who want to do brand awareness for, none of the people who already are aware of our brand are going to be targeted, right? Super handy, super powerful. Now you have the audiences at your disposal and the sky is the limit. So you decide on how you want to use them and target them. Just remember that when you have an audience, whether it's a customer lookalike, you can scroll down and be even more detailed in that targeting, and that is the true power behind it, okay? Now, the final thing I want to show you, as we can see, the saved audience is empty. Now, let's discard this. My head is in the way, but it says discard draft down here. So I'm gonna discard all of this so none of it is saved. And going to this ad set that we created earlier, remember, I'm gonna click on edit. What we can do is that we can scroll down here, and then we can save down this audience that we created just by going all the way down where it says save this audience. I'm gonna click there and I'm just gonna call it, let's say, couples bracelet long distance relationship audience. This is just so I'll know what it is. And then I'm gonna click on save, and now this audience is saved, right? Very, very cool. So what I can do at this point is that I can create a new audience, or I can use a saved audience, and there we go, it's the couples bracelet long distance audience, right? So here it is, and everything is set already. There's nothing for me to do, but if I want to do something about it, I can click on edit here, and then I can start playing around with these. Now the same thing is gonna hold true, that if we create a new audience and we decide to remove this one and instead use a lookalike audience, for example, we can do that, and then we can start playing around with all of these settings, and then we can save down that audience that includes a lookalike or a custom audience. And then we're gonna be able to use it in the saved audience, and it's gonna be right here. So very powerful. This is how you use custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and then how you save down those audiences, whether that is saved down as a core audience or if you save down a lookalike or a custom audience, right? Very powerful, a lot of possibilities for customization, and at this point you have a very good idea of what audiences are, how to use them properly, and how to use them to optimize your ads, right? So now we can be even more targeted, even more specific. Fantastic job in making it this far. Let's move on to the next section of the course. See you in the next lecture.